Hi, class. So let's talk about the geographic distribution of tornadoes, actually worldwide. And so this is one of the slides off of the PowerPoint presentation that I've provided to you. And it shows the distribution of tornadoes worldwide. I'll move this back and forth a little bit so you can see, wow, look at all those tornadoes in North America. Holy moly. Compared to the rest of the world, it's like, wow, there's nothing worldwide except in North America. We're number one. Woohoo! I don't know if this is an instance where you want to brag about being number one, but yeah, we are number one in, United States and North America, in terms of the distribution of tornadoes or the occurrence of tornadoes. And there is a good reason for that. You couldn't think up a better geographic location than the United States and North America for the formation of tornadoes. It is just the perfect setup for tornado development. Okay, and so we're going to go back to some of our concepts that we talked about before. Now, tornadoes develop out of thunderstorms, and we talked about the ingredients that you need for thunderstorm development. So the first is that you need a fuel source, okay, warm, moist air. And so here we've got the Gulf of Mexico. And in the Gulf of Mexico, you've got maritime tropical air masses forming over the Gulf of Mexico. And if you advect that warm, moist maritime tropical air northward, there's your fuel. Just the perfect setup. If you look to the north into the Canadian prairies, okay, here's your source region for continental polar air. I don't know if that's showing up very well, but here in the Canadian prairies, you got a source region for continental polar air, just waiting for a jet stream to displace it and move it to the south. Okay, and so you got the perfect setup, and then on top of that, our mountain ranges. So the Rocky Mountains are situated north to south. Okay, actually, the whole mountain range goes from North America all the way down to South America. But so we've got mountain ranges, the Rocky Mountains here to the west. We have the Appalachian Mountains, and this is even harder to see, I know that. We have the Appalachian Mountains to the east. And so, like I say in the notes, you've got basically a bowling alley where the gutters are inverted instead of them going down and capturing the balls. You know, you've got them inverted so that they're higher, and basically creates a funnel. So maritime tropical air, when it streams or advects to the north, continental polar air, cold, dry air moving towards the south, you have the perfect battleground then in the Great Plains and the Midwest of the United States. It's just the perfect setup. Okay, so again, maritime tropical air provides the fuel, the warm, moist air. When that moves to the north, it oftentimes will meet up with continental polar air. Continental polar air gets displaced by the jet stream. It starts to move. This is the leading edge of the continental polar air, becomes a cold front. So we talked about that. So you've got strong cold fronts coming down out of Canada with lots of warm, moist maritime tropical air out in front of it. It is just the perfect setup for severe weather, thunderstorms and tornadoes. In this case, we're talking about tornadoes. So it is just, if you like tornadoes, if you like thunderstorms, you are in the right place in the Midwest. Okay, looking elsewhere around the world, again, you rarely see tornadoes elsewhere, and you might be looking at Europe and saying, well, you got Scandinavia up here. There's your continental polar air. You've got the Mediterranean Sea. There's your maritime tropical air. Why aren't there more tornadoes in Europe? And the big reason for that is, whereas in the Americas, You've got the Andes and the Rockies and the Appalachians. They run from north to south or south to north, depending on how you look. But in Europe, their mountain ranges run from west to east. And so you've got the Alps running across. So you got this big mountain range, which pretty much blocks the warm, moist maritime tropical air that would flow northward from the Mediterranean Sea. So you don't have the fuel source like you do in the Americas. And so again, we are special, if you want to think of it that way. I don't know if it's special in a good way or not, but again, we have just the perfect setup for severe weather in the United States and North America. And I really appreciate this figure showing the occurrence of tornadoes worldwide, because it really does show the influence of the perfect setup in the United States and North America.